Oh, never mind. Well, welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be doing Genesis chapter 7 to Genesis chapter 9. Ah, this one was a real doozy when I read it. But let's get going. And like I said, always, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you, well, after I'm done reading this. Alrighty. Genesis chapter 7, verse 1. When everything was ready, the Lord said unto Noah, Go to the go into the boat with all your family. For among all the people on the earth, I can see that you alone are righteous. Take with the 7 pairs, male and female, of each animal I have approved for eating and for sacrifice, and take 1 pair of each of the others. Also take 7 pairs of every kind of bird. There must be a male, a female in each pair to ensure that all life will survive on earth after the flood. 7 days from now, I will make the rains pour down on the earth, and it will rain for 40 days and 40 nights, till I have wiped until I have wiped from the earth all living creatures I have created. So Noah did everything the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood covered the earth. He went on board to the boat and to escape the flood. He and his wife and his sons and their wives. With them were all various kinds of animals, those approved for eating, for sacrifice, and those were not along with the other, with all the birds and all the small animals that scurried along the ground. They entered the boat in pairs, male and female, just as God commanded Noah. Af- After 7 days, the waters of the flood came, covered the earth, covered the earth. When Noah was 600 years old, on the 17th day of the second month, all underground waters erupted from the earth, and the rain fell, a mighty torrent from the sky. The rain continued to fall for 40 days and 40 nights. At very that very day, Noah had gone onto the boat with his wife and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. With them in the boat were pairs of every animal, domestic and wild, large and small, along the birds of every kind. 2 by 2 they came onto the boat, representing every living thing that breathes. A male and female of each kind entered, just as God commanded Noah. Then the Lord closed the door behind them. For 40 days the waters, the flood waters grew deeper, covered the ground, and lifting the boat high above the earth. As the waters rose higher and higher above the ground, the boat floated safely onto the surface. Finally, the waters covered even the highest mountains on earth, rising more than 22 feet above the highest peaks. All living things on earth died: birds, domestic animals, wild animals, small animals that scurried along the ground, and all the people. Everything that breathed or breath and lived on dry land died, and God wiped out every living thing on the earth: people, livestock, small animals that scurried along the ground, and the birds of the sky. All were destroyed. The people, the only people that survived were Noah and those with him in the boat. And the flood waters covered the earth for 150 days. But when but God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and livestock with him in the boat. He said he sent a wind to blow across the earth, and the flood waters began to recede. The underground waters stopped flowing, and the torrential rains from the sky were stopped. So the flood waters gradually reduced from the earth. After 150 days, exactly 5 months from the time of the flood began, the boat came to a rest on the mountain of Arad. 2.5 months later, as the waters continue to go down, another mountain peaks become visible. After another 40 days, Noah opens the window and he made on in the boat and released a raven. The bird flew back and forth till the flood waters of the earth had dried up. He also released a dove to see if the waters reduced had receded and it could find dry land. But the dove could not find no place to land because the water still covered the ground. So it returned to the boat, and Noah held out his hand and drew the dove back inside. After waiting another 7 days, Noah released the dove again. This time the dove returned him the evening with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. Then Noah knew that the flood waters were gone. He waited another 7 days and released the dove again. This time it did not come back. Noah was Noah was now 106 years old. On the first day of the new year, 10.5 months after the flood began, the flood waters had almost dried up on the earth. Noah lifted back and covered the boat and saw that the surface of the ground was drying. 2 months went by, and then 2 months went by, and at last the ground was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Leave the boat, all of you, your wife, your sons, and their wives. Release all the animals, the birds, the livestock, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, so they can be fruitful and multiply throughout the earth." So Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives left the boat, and all of the large and small animals and birds came out of the boat pair by pair. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and there he sacrificed and burnt offerings to animals of the animals and birds that had been approved for that purpose. And the Lord was pleased with the aroma of the sacrifice and said to himself, "I will never again curse the ground because of the human race, even through everything you think or imagine it bent towards evil from childhood. I will never again destroy all living things. As long as the earth remains, there will be planting and harvest, cold, heat, summer and winter, day and night." Then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth. All the animals of the earth, all the birds of the sky, all the small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the fish of the sea will look on you with fear and terror. I have placed them in your power. I have given them to you for food, just as I've given you grain and vegetables. But you must never eat any meat that still has the lifeblood in it, and I will require the blood of anyone who takes another person's life. If a wild animal kills a person, it must die, and anyone who murders a fellow human must die. If anyone takes a human life, that person's life will also be taken from a human hand. For God made human beings in his own image. Now be fruitful and multiply and repopulate the earth." Then God told Noah and his sons, "I hereby confirm my covenant with you and your descendants, and with all the animals that were on the boat with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, every living creature on earth. Yes, I am confirming my covenant with you. Never again will the flood waters kill all living creatures. Never again will all flood Never again will a flood destroy the earth." Then God said, "I am giving you a sign of my covenant with you and with all living creatures for the generations to come. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds, and it is a sign of my covenant with you and with all the earth. I will send the clouds over to the earth with a rainbow and will appear in the clouds. And I will remember my covenant with you and with all living creatures. Never again will the floodwaters destroy all life. And see the rainbow in the clouds, and I will remember the eternal covenant between God and every living creature on earth. Then God said to Noah, yes, this is the rainbow, the sign of my covenant that I am confirming with all creatures on earth. The sons of Noah who came out of the boat were the father of were Shemloch, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. From the three sons of Noah came along all the people who now populate the earth. After the flood, Noah began to cultivate the ground and planted a vineyard. One day he drank some wine and had made him that he had made, and he became drunk and laid naked inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw that his father was naked and went outside and told his brothers. Then Shannon and Japheth took a robe, held it over their shoulders, and backed into the tent to cover their father. As they did it, they looked at the other way so they would not see him naked. When Noah woke up from his stupor, he learned what Ham, the, his youngest son, had done. Then he had cursed Canaan, the son of Ham. May Canaan be cursed. May he be the lowest of the servants and and his relatives. Then Noah said, may the Lord, the God of Shannon, be blessed, and may Canaan be his servant. May God expand his territory of Japheth, and Japheth share his prosperities with shame. And may Canaan be his servant. Noah lived another 350 years after the flood. He lived for 950 years, and then he died. Okay, so after reading all those chapters, you see that Noah is 600 years old. I kind of did this observation that, what was, let me see. Let me go back, and an observation that I did was in chapter 8, verse 2. It talks about the underground water. These are actual reservoirs that are actually underwater that I've actually heard about. Some of these are actual water, and some of these are just mixed with chemicals and other stuff. But that's actually one of the observations I made from reading these chapters. But now, from what I've heard from many scientists, say that it's actually right above the mantle, around that crust mantle area, right above there. There's actual. You could actually look this up on some websites that there is actually underground reservoirs, which this is actually one of the things that God talks about in chapter 8. And um another observation I did, this was more of an experience type thing that I had, but when in chapter 8 verse 11, I made the connection between the dove that brought back that little branch to Noah on his beak. And I remember this news story from who knows. I think at this point it was like 10 years ago, about people claiming about a Christ statue that was crying out water, and they were like, this must be the actual tears of Christ. So I was like, huh. So I looked into it. I looked more into these actual news stories, and some people actually do claim that these tears were actually healing people, that these were the actual tears of Christ. A chemist that actually studied the water actually came back and he said like the water is actually more like olive oil. He also did claim that most like holy water and water that are like in blessed areas from the Lord, uh, they actually have a hint of olive in them. So I saw that part with the dove bringing back the branch. And I kind of made that connection from this like story years ago. I remember hearing it about it. Um, I want to say it's back on CNN, like way, way back then. But you could take that with a huge grain of salt. You kind of have to look into that story. But yeah. Also, another thing that I did see, this actually happened not that long ago, was the boat print that they found the actual place where the boat actually settled down onto the ground. Another grain of salt, cause um, the boat print. I don't know. I don't know too much about that boat print. I had to look more into that, but I recently heard about that not that long ago. But those are kind of like just like the observations I made. But one of the things that I actually do want to bring up too is God's character in this. Even though God's pretty much destroying all life on Earth, He's still a caring being that actually in the passage actually He brings up the door of the boat and He actually closes it. I wanted to bring this up because a lot of people like to say that in this moment when God destroys pretty much all life on earth, people like to pretty much refer to this as evil. God's not evil in this. He pretty much did it because of his justice and mercy. He didn't just want to do it just because he felt like it was going to be like some sort of prank, but he did this because he pretty much it broke his heart. It wasn't he felt joy in this. It broke his actual heart because sometimes we forget that God's a human spiritual being. He's a spiritual being that feels just like us, feels pretty much all the emotions we feel. Just imagine all that rage of all these humans doing such bad things at that time. I couldn't imagine being in his position and just feeling all that sin just all over the earth. I couldn't imagine all that. But that does it for today. I know this one, for some reason, this feels shorter, but I guess that's because I guess I guess it's because more so I'm getting more used to reading it. I'm getting more used to actually understanding what's going on in the story instead of just reading and then just telling you for the next I don't know 10 minutes. But regardless of what people think, God is still carrying in the Bible. He still closed the door for Noah. He still pretty much had a heart that was broken from all the sin in the world. He felt pretty much bad for all what's going on right now. So keep it real, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.